Assalamualaikum dear students. Hope you are fine. So, as you know, in earlier lecture I discussed with you that is the economic activities. So, in that very lecture I mentioned one thing there, that is the understanding the economy of India. So, in that very lecture I mentioned with you that is the economic activities. So, you know that activity which leads the generation of livelihood. So by that activity through which we earn the livelihood, so that are known as the economic activity. And the activity through which we do not earn the livelihood or do not generate any money, that is known as the non-economic activity. So these things I already discussed with you in earlier class. So as per today's topic, I'm going to discuss one more this topic of economic activity, that is the sectors of economic activity. So listen carefully. That is the types, or we can say in another words, that is the types of economic activity. So okay, thank you. Listen. So as per this generation of money, as per the generation of livelihood, as per the earning of moneyhood, this is done by the three activities. Yani generally or mainly we can say that the earning of livelihood is by the three processes. So the three main processes through which we earn the livelihood, so these are known as the sectors of economy. These are known as the sectors of economy. So if you are asked in the exam what is the sectors of economy, so we can write down there, that is the through the activity through which we earn the livelihood, or through which we generate this economy, or through which we generate the money, that is known as the economy activity. And there are the three main processes of the generation of economy. So these are known as the sectors. The process through which we generate this economy, that is known as the economic sectors of economic activity. Or you are asked what are the types of economic activity. Sectors of economic activity or types of economic activity are both are the same. So now listen, as per the generation of livelihood, the economic activities are divided into mainly three types, as per economists, three types. So one, that is the primary sector, that is known as the primary sector of economy. हम देखते हैं कि primary sector यानी कि वो sector होता है through which we generation the livelihood. So when the economic activity depends upon the exploitation of natural resource, so when it is leading the exploitation of natural resource, development of natural resource, or to make the available natural resources for the use, so that activity is known as the primary economic activity, or we can say this is the primary sector economic activity. And the people indulge in that activity, they are known as the primary sector. यानी हम उनकी economic activity को बोल रहे हैं कि ये primary sector में है. So keep remember that is when economic activities depend upon the exploitation of natural resource, so this is known as the primary economic activity. It is also known as the primary economic activity. So yeah, in another words, I can mention here, when livelihood is generated by the production of raw material, when livelihood is generated by the production of raw material, extraction of raw material, or collection of raw material. Yani if anybody generates its economy through the extraction of raw material, production of raw material, or collection of raw material, so then their economic activity is known as the primary economic activity, and we can say that he is in the primary sector. हम उस person को बोलेंगे ये primary sector में है, और क्योंकि ये अपना livelihood, ये अपना generation of economy जो generation हो रही है वो mainly इसको raw material के production से हो रही है, collection of raw material, or we can say that is the extraction of raw material. So बेटा keep remember here, अगर किसी person की economic activity हम बोलेंगे primary economic activity, और हम बोलेंगे ये प्राइमरी सेक्टर में इन्वॉल्व है, सो देयर मस्ट बी ही इज द रॉ मटेरियल प्रोड्यूसर, और ही इज द कलेक्टर ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल, और इज द असेंबलर ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल. अगर वो कलेक्शन कर रहा है, असेंबलेज कर रहा है, और दिस एक्सट्रैक्शन कर रहा है, तो हम उसको बोलेंगे ये प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी इन्वॉल्व है और ये प्राइमरी सेक्टर में है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल we can say that is the agriculture. So cultivation of crops, अगर हम देखेंगे that is the cultivation of crops, you know it is the production of raw material. जो farmer होता है generally he produces the raw material. वो कोई manufacturer नहीं है, वो कोई finished goods को तैयार नहीं कर रहा है, he produces the raw material. वो raw material produce कर रहा है. So by producing the raw material he generates his economy. यानी raw material को produce करने के बाद through the agricultural agricultural activity and through the horticultural activity, yeah, any other activity through which he earn the this economic activity by production of raw material. So we can say that this person is in the primary sector, or we can say his economy is generated by the primary economic activity. So agriculture को हम देखेंगे तो generally it is the primary economic activity, क्योंकि there is no any manufacturing but there is the production of raw material. Example अगर हम देखेंगे, for example cotton. So cotton balls जो होते हैं generally they are farmer produces, but this is the production of raw material. This is not the resource. This raw material is not in the utilizable form. So after with the aid of technology, with the aid of scientific knowledge and aid of machinery, so we can convert this raw material into finished product. We can develop this raw material into usable product. So the person who develops this raw material into other product, so we can say that he is in the secondary economic activity, because he is not producer but he is the conversion of raw material. वो raw material को convert कर रहा है. But the person who firstly produces the raw material, and that person is known as the primary. So that activity is known as the primary economic activity. यानी जिस activity में भी आप देखो बेटा, जहां पे भी आप देखो raw material produce हो रहा है, ना कि कोई manufacturing हो रहा है, ना कि कोई conversion हो रहा है. So agriculture में हम देखेंगे तो वहां पे कोई कन्वर्जन नहीं हो रहा है, वहां पे कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नहीं हो रही है, बट देयर इज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल, वेदर इट इज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कॉटन, वेदर इट इज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ ऑयल सीड्स, वेदर इट इज द प्रोडक्शन ऑफ sugar cane and many other products which are the agro-based industries utilize. So the persons who indulge in the agriculture are said to be they are in the primary sector, and we can say that they are in the primary sector and their economic activity is the primary economic activity. So keep remember here that is the agriculture is the primary economic activity. And moreover this one more, that is the pisciculture, cultivation of fishes or rearing of fishes. So that is also the production of raw material. So fishes are generally produces for the different oils and for the other different products. So we can say that is also the this rearing of fishes and in the tanks and ponds. So this is also the primary economic activity. Because why it is known as the primary economic? Because there is production of raw material, but not this we can say that is the manufacture of raw material, but production of raw material hota hai. So then after one more thing, that is the floriculture, dairy farming, and one more thing, that is the mining. So extraction of minerals. So when you see that is the naturally occurring substance inside the earth's crust. So we extract those minerals which are economically important, which have the commercial importance. The minerals which have commercial importance are generally extracted. So the person who involves in the mining, we can say that he is in the primary sector, because that person does not produce generates any product but this extract. तो प्रोडक्शन के बाद आपको याद रखना, यहाँ पे अगर कोई पर्सन आप देखो प्रोडक्शन तो कर रहा, हम उसको बोलते हैं प्राइमरी सेक्टर में, लेकिन कोई पर्सन वो प्रोडक्शन नहीं कर रहा बट एक्सट्रैक्शन, ही इज द एक्सट्रैक्टर. सो वी कैन से दैट पर्सन इज नोन एज द आल्सो इन द प्राइमरी सेक्टर एंड हैज द प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. सो देन वन मोर इज द lumbering process. Lumbering is the collection of this forest products and processes to related them sawing etc. So that is also known as the collection of forest products. For example, collection of herbs, collection of many other these plants raw material for the other industries. So this is also the collection. So चाहे आप देखो collection हो, extraction हो या production हो, तो we can say these persons are involved in the primary economic activity. So जब भी आपको बोला जाएगा कि sectors of primary sectors of economy, तो तीन sectors of economy through which we generate the this livelihood. One is the primary, second is the secondary economic, and the tertiary economic activity. So these are the three sectors of economic activity, or we can say these there are the three types of economic activity. Generally यहाँ पे तीन types of economic activity है through which we earn the livelihood. So one economic primary economic activity is that which depends through which we earn the livelihood, through which we earn livelihood by the production of raw material, extraction of raw material, and collection of raw material. So that is agriculture. It is not the secondary, it is not the tertiary, because in the agriculture there is not conversion, there not involves the conversion, but there occurs the production. production. And beyond of this agriculture, one more thing, that is the pisciculture. Pisciculture is also this, there is no any sort of this production, neither this collection, sorry, this service, but there is also the this production. And floriculture is also production, sericulture is also production, and this dairy farming also production, animal rearing also production of raw material. So जिनमें भी production of raw material होगा हम उनको बोलते हैं प्राइमरी से प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. एंड द पर्सन, जो पर्सन इन्वॉल्व होते हैं और इन दीज थ्रू द प्रोडक्शन, एग्रीकल्चर, थ्रू द पिस्कल्चर, थ्रू द फ्लोरिकल्चर, सो वी कैन से दे आर इन द प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. वन मोर थिंग, दैट इज द माइनिंग. सो माइनिंग में आप देखो जनरली देयर इज नो प्रोडक्शन बट देयर इज द एक्सट्रैक्शन. सो नाउ क्वेश्चन, extraction, this of any substance, extraction of raw material falls in the dash category. It is also in the this primary sector, because I mentioned above here, that is the whether it is the production, whether it is the extraction. So mining, extraction and production दोनों primary में आते हैं. So mining is also, so mining of this petroleum, mining of natural gas, mining of this iron ore, etc., many other things. So this economically valuable minerals. So whether it is the production, whether it is the mining, both are involved in the primary economic activity, क्योंकि दोनों में रॉ मटेरियल प्रोड्यूस होता है. चाहे रॉ मटेरियल प्रोडक्शन से हासिल हो, चाहे हमें रॉ मटेरियल आप देखो एक्सट्रैक्शन से हासिल हो. एंड वन मोर थिंग, दैट इज द दिस कलेक्शन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स. वी कलेक्ट द फॉरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट्स फॉर द फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्रीज, कॉस्मेटिक इंडस्ट्रीज. सो देयर इज नो एनी दिस conversion of raw material into finished product, but collection also involves in the primary economic activity. So that activities through which we primary economic activity or primary sector is the that economic activities in which production, extraction and this collection of raw material. So बेटा जिनमें भी production, extraction and collection होगा वो सारे fall होते हैं प्राइमरी में. तो that is why एग्रीकल्चर क्यों प्राइमरी में है, क्योंकि इसमें प्रोडक्शन हो रही है, पिस्कल्चर में प्रोडक्शन हो रही है, फ्लोरिकल्चर में प्रोडक्शन हो रही है. उसके अलावा अगर हम देखेंगे वन मोर थिंग, दैट इज डायरी और दिस एनिमल हस्बेंड्री में भी आप देखो इनमें सब में प्रोडक्शन हो रहे हैं. तो ये सारे एक्टिविटी जो पर्सन इनसे यानी लाइवलीहुड जनरेट है, लेकिन हम उसको बोलेंगे ये प्राइमरी सेक्टर में है. उसके अलावा आप देखो जो एक्सट्रैक्शन कर रहा है, तो आप देखो इनसे भी आप देखो इसको भी प्राइमरी, क्योंकि वो एक्सट्रैक्शन से करके, चाहे कोई कलेक्शन से करे, तो वो उसको भी हम प्राइमरी सेक्टर में डाल रहे हैं. लेकिन अब उसके बाद आप देखो persons which are not involved in, जो person involved इसमें नहीं ना प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हैं, neither they produces nor they extract or this assemble, so they earn the livelihood, they generate the economy by the another way. So that is known as the secondary economic activities. So secondary economic activity, secondary economic activity is the that economic activity in which conversion of raw material into finished product. So conversion of raw material into finished product by the use of machinery, tools and scientific technology. So by the use of machine aid, by the use of knowledge, by the use of scientific knowledge, so the persons, they do not produce, collect or assemble, but they converge the raw material obtained from the primary economic activities. So the raw material which is obtained from primary economic activity is कन्वर्जड इनटू द फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट, क्योंकि ये रॉ मटेरियल जो हम ऑब्टेन कर रहे हैं ये यूजफुल फॉर्म में नहीं होता है, इट इज नॉट इन द यूटिलाइजेबल फॉर्म. सो विद द एड ऑफ मशीन नॉलेज एंड टेक्नोलॉजी वी कैन कन्वर्ज दिस रॉ मटेरियल इनटू फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट. सो हम जब इसको रॉ मटेरियल को फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट में कर रहे हैं बाय द एड ऑफ मशीन, सो दैट इज द सेकेंडरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. क्यों इसको सेकेंडरी, क्योंकि इसमें कोई हमें प्राइमरी में हमें तीन कंडीशंस होते हैं, देयर आर द थ्री कैरेक्टर्स इन द प्राइमरी, देयर शुड बी अ प्रोडक्शन और देयर शुड be this extraction or there should be assemblage, but secondary में there should be a conversion, वहां पे conversion होना चाहिए raw material into finished product. So जहां पे भी आप देखो conversion होगा raw material into finished product और हम उसको बोलेंगे secondary economic activity, and the person that deals with that, so we can say he has the secondary economic activity, he is involved in the secondary economic, he is involved in the secondary sector, यानी वो secondary sector में involve है. तो यहाँ पे आपको याद याद रखना होगा। सेकेंडरी सेक्टर वो होता है जिसमें आप देखो प्रोडक्शन, एक्सट्रैक्शन, माइनिंग ना हो, बल्कि आप देखो जनरली वहां पे कन्वर्जन हो, यानी एक रॉ मटेरियल को जिसमें आप देखो यूजफुल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट किया जाएगा, डेवलप किया जाएगा, ऑब्टेन्ड फ्रॉम प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी, जो रॉ मटेरियल ऑब्टेन प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी से, एंड बाय द एड ऑफ machines we can converge this raw material. So the person who converges this raw material, and that is known as he is in the secondary sector, or we can say secondary economic activity, and this conversion of raw material in secondary, so that is known as secondary economic activity, because he also earns this money, he also generates the livelihood, so that is why he is known as the secondary economic activity. So keep remember example, for example, that is we can say this manufacturing industries. So we can say manufacturing industries, that is the this iron, smelting of iron ore, smelting of iron ore, जो person iron ore को smelting कर रहे हैं, and this is the secondary economic activity, क्योंकि that person वो iron ore को obtain कर रहा, iron ore obtain हुआ प्राइमरी से, तो इसने हमें extract किया, और उसके बाद iron steel plant जो होते हैं, iron steel plant by the smelting process convert it into the useful product, वो आपको steel produce करके देते हैं। तो ये जनरली जो ये रॉ मटेरियल ऑब्टेन हुआ, तो ये यूजफुल फॉर्म में नहीं था, तो आयरन स्टील प्लांट, स्वेल्टिंग प्लांट कन्वर्ज इसको यूजफुल फॉर्म में बनाते। सो यहाँ पे जिसने इसको यूजफुल फॉर्म में बनाया, इस प्रोसेस में तो हम इसको बोलेंगे सेकेंडरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी, जहां से आपको एक्सट्रैक्ट करके दिया तो हम इसको बोलेंगे प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक। इसने भी इस थ्रू दिस एक्सट्रैक्शन से लाइवलीहुड कमाया, इसने भी इससे आप देखो लाइवलीहुड कमाया, ये भी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी है, ये भी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी है। अब फर्क क्या है, इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी ये भी अर्निंग कर रहा है और यहां पे भी अर्निंग हो रही है, दोनों लाइवलीहुड जनरेट कर रही है, बट द क्वेश्चन इज हियर दैट इज द ही अर्न्स द लाइवलीहुड बाय प्रोडक्शन, देयर इज द दिस मोड ऑफ डिफरेंस, यानी अर्निंग ऑफ लाइवलीहुड, देयर इज द मोड ऑफ डिफरेंस, यानी मोड ऑफ बाय द डिफरेंट मोड ऑफ दिस वी अर्निंग द लाइवलीहुड, so we divide is the economic activity three types. So one is the when you earn the when you this generate the livelihood by production, so that is known as the this production of, there is no involvement of any this we can say conversion etc. So iron ore जो extract हुआ, so we can say that is the primary economic activity. After the primary, this iron ore is transported to the iron steel plants, so these steel iron plants converge it, make it useful for them. So why with the aid of machines, with the aid of knowledge and other things, we convert this raw material obtained from primary economic activity into the this finished product. So that person which converges earning through this livelihood, earning by this process livelihood, so this is known as the secondary sector, or we can say secondary economic activity. So जो economic activity आप करोगे by the conversion of raw material, so that is known as the secondary economic activity. So not iron ore, we can say that is the petroleum. Petroleum is also obtained from the primary economic activity by the mining process, so by the drilling of, so when there is the drilling process, so we can obtain the raw material. So this raw material obtained from primary economic activity is transported to the refineries. So refineries refine this petroleum into the petroleum products. So with the aid of machines, with the aid of knowledge, this raw material is converted into useful products into, so this is the these persons involved in the economic activity, and these persons also involved in the economic activity, but they earn the by the extraction, but they earn the by the manufacturing. So the difference is this in the mode of earning. So they produces their livelihood by the production, but they produces their livelihood by the conversion, by the conversion. So those persons who produces livelihood by the conversion are known as the secondary economic activity, and the produces their livelihood by the production, that is known as the by the extraction, that is known as the primary. So extraction of petroleum involves in the primary economic activity, mining and this drilling of petroleum is the primary, but conversion in the refineries, into petroleum products, that is known as the secondary economic activity, or we can say it is the secondary sector and it is the primary sector. And the person which are involved in that, they are known as the in primary sector, and they are the person which converges, they are involved in the secondary sector. So these are the two economic activities through which we earn the livelihood. So they generally दो economic activities है जिनसे हम livelihood generate कर रहे हैं. But there is the another mode of this generation of livelihood. There are the some persons, there are the some population which neither extracts, produces, etc. etc. But they earn their livelihood by the another way. वो एक और अलग प्रोसेस से अपना livelihood जनरेट कर रही है ना, वो प्रोडक्शन एक्सट्रैक्शन असेंबली से कर रहे हैं, तो मतलब वो फाल नहीं होते हैं प्राइमरी में. एंड नाइदर दे प्रोड्यूस नाइदर दे जनरेट देयर इकोनॉमी बाय द कन्वर्जन. सो मीन्स वो कन्वर्जन भी नहीं कर रहे, बल्कि इसके अलावा और भी वो एक तरीके से हम देखेंगे अपनी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं. तो जो पर्सन ना प्रोडक्शन एक्सट्रैक्शन कन्वर्जन कर रहा है, मीन्स ना प्राइमरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी से अपना लाइवलीहुड जनरेट कर रहा है, ना सेकेंडरी, बल्कि इसके अलावा एक और इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी सोसाइटी में वो कर रहा है, तो हम उसको बोलते हैं टेरिशरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. सो दैट पर्सन इज इन्वॉल्व इन द टेरिशरी विच जनरेट्स बाय द सर्विस, बाय द सर्विस. लेकिन पहले मैं यहाँ पे वन मोर एग्जांपल आई कैन हाईलाइट इट हियर, दैट इज द दिस sugar cane. So you know this is the sugar cane is produced by the farmer. So this is the production of raw material, and the person which produces this raw material, the person which produces this raw material generally, so we can say he generates economy by the production of raw material. So we can say the cultivator of sugar cane is known as the primary sector, and the person involved in the primary sector. But this conversion of into the sugar by this sugar mills and by the sugar industries, so we can say that is the conversion up into the finished product. So this is known as the secondary economic activities. And one more thing, that is the cultivation of cotton. So this is the primary economic activities, and the conversion of textiles. So जो textiles industries होते हैं, so they are known as the secondary economic sector. हम इसको बोलेंगे primary economic sector. And one more thing we can say, jute industries, sorry, jute cultivation. So this is the primary because there is the production, but into the textiles, jute textiles, bags, etc., jute product. So this is the secondary because they are converges in the jute textile industries are in the conversion. This cotton textile industries are other. So one more, this sericulture, cultivation of silk, and the silk textiles. So this is also the secondary economic activities. So एक product जहाँ पे product raw material produce होगा, so that is known as the primary, या production से होगा, collection से होगा, या दिस एक्सट्रैक्शन से होगा. लेकिन जब इसी रॉ मटेरियल को चाहे प्रोडक्शन, कलेक्शन और एक्सट्रैक्शन से हो चुका होगा, सो व्हेन इट इज सेंट टू द इन द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्रीज, व्हेन इट इज सेंट इनटू द इंडस्ट्रीज, सो दे कन्वर्ट इनटू द फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट. सो दिस कन्वर्जन ऑफ फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट इज नोन एज सेकेंडरी, एंड दिस प्रोडक्शन एक्सट्रैक्शन इज नोन एज द प्राइमरी. एंड दिस इज द प्राइमरी सेक्टर, दिस इज द सेकेंडरी सेक्टर. एंड द पर्सन, द पॉपुलेशन, अमाउंट ऑफ पॉपुलेशन involved in, we can say this is the in the primary, involves in primary economic, and this one are in the secondary economic activity. So one more thing, uske baad I earlier told you that is the there are the some persons which neither generate their livelihood by the production, extraction, or not conversion. They generate their livelihood by the another way, that is by the service. So there are the some persons who generate their livelihood, who earn their economy by this service. ना कोई वो प्रोडक्ट तैयार कर रहे हैं, ना कोई वो आप देखो दिस प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हैं, ना असेंबलेज कर रहे हैं, ना कल्टीवेशन कर रहे हैं, ना दिस कन्वर्जन कर रहे हैं, बट दिस सर्विस दे परफॉर्म दिस सर्विस इन दिस सोसाइटी. सो वी कैन से दैट पर्सन्स आर इन द सर्विस सेक्टर. हम इसको बोलते हैं टेरिशरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. सो टेरिशरी इकोनॉमिक activity. So tertiary economic activity, which, so that we can say that economic activity which provides service, या which have the provision of service. provision means अता करना. so generally आप देखो which have the provision of service. so जिस एक्टिविटी से हम देखेंगे जिससे हम अपना लाइवलीहुड और अर्निंग जनरेट करेंगे, लेकिन हम उसको बाय द प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस अदा करके हम कोई पर्सन अपना लाइवलीहुड कमाएगा. ना वो कोई प्रोडक्शन करके अपना लाइवलीहुड, ना एक्सट्रैक्शन, ना असेंबलेज, बट नाइदर दिस कन्वर्जन, बट द पर्सन दैट दिस जनरेट्स द इकोनॉमी बाय द प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस, बाय द प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस. जो प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस सोसाइटी में कर रहा, सो दैट पर्सन इज नोन एज द टेरिशरी इकोनॉमी, बिकॉज बाय द प्रोविजन ऑफ सर्विस in the societies, in the environment, so he performs, he this generates here livelihood, so that person is known as the involves in the tertiary sector, or we can say that is the tertiary economy. उस एक्टिविटी को हम बोलते हैं tertiary economic activities. So for example अगर हम देखेंगे teacher as is the best example, because the teacher in the school neither produces any raw material, nor collects, not this assemblage, stage. So we can say he is not in the primary sector. Not conversion. उसके बाद ना वो conversion में आता, ना कोई वो product को converge कर रहा, so secondary में ये fall नहीं होता. But this teacher provides this service in the society. Yeah, this teacher fulfills our the desire of this teaching, desire of this teaching demand. So we can say he performs the, he provides the, he gives the provision of service in the society. So the persons who gives the provision of service, who provides the service and generates through this process employment, so that person is known as this this activity is known as the tertiary sector, or we can say tertiary economic activity, and the person is known as the involves in the tertiary economic activities. So best example that is that. And one more thing is the banking sector. So we can if we take the example of banking sector, banking this sector neither produces any raw material, not collects, not, so this banking sector not falls in this primary, and neither it converges any product into the finished product, any raw material into finished product, so it is not fall in the secondary. But this provides this service in our society. So banks provide this society this transfer of this change in currency and many other of the issues related to currency. So these are the service these in the society provides the bank employees. So banking sector, banking industry is also known as the tertiary economic activity. So those persons who generate their livelihood by this service sector, so they are known as this banking, so they are known as in the tertiary economic activities. One more, that is the tourism is one more best example, because they neither produces raw material, not generates any this collectors or assemblage, there no occurs, but there only occurs this that service. So they provide this service, they provide the transport. So transport and doctor, that is the health industry, education industry, tourism industry, these are the some industries and which provides this service, banking etc. So these are the provided service. They do not provide any, they produces any raw material, not collectors, not assemblage, or neither they converge the raw material. So the person is the economic activity the through which we earn the livelihood, but neither produce the production of raw material, neither nor conversion, but by the process of this service. So जो person service से produce करेंगे, so they are known as the second, sorry, tertiary economic activities. So that is, we can say that is the health, it is the service sector, education, it is the service sector, banking sector, these are the service sector. So we can say that these are known as the tertiary economic activities. So once again I go once through this repeat. So there are the three sectors of economy through which we generate the employment, through which we generate the economy. So one is the primary, secondary and tertiary. So what is the difference? In both of these sectors, in both of three sectors we can earn the livelihood, but by the three different modes. So generation of livelihood by three different modes. So we can say divide these economic activities into three categories, that is the primary, secondary and tertiary. So primary is the by when you generate the livelihood by the production, extraction and collection, so this is known as the primary. So in that category, that is agriculture, mining and many other things also involves in the primary. And when there is the occurs the conversion of this raw material obtained from the primary this economic activity, so that is known as the secondary, that is the smelting of iron ore, the smelting of copper ore, yeah, we can say that is the one more thing this refining of petroleum etc. So जितने भी smelting होते हैं automobile वगैरह etc. they perform the cotton textile, jute textile and many other refineries, they converge the raw material, so that is known as the secondary economic sector. And third economic sector is defined as the when you earn the livelihood through the service, that is known as the service economic activity, or we can say tertiary economy. These are the three sectors of economy. So question is, what are the three sectors of economy? There are the three sectors of economy through which we earn the livelihood: primary, secondary and tertiary. So this is the difference between primary, secondary and tertiary economic activity. So this was about the sectors of economic activity. And okay, thank you very much.